evening. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and you are watching SOS, where we're saving our sex lives one bedroom at a time. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Looking forward to an awesome show this evening. And so be sure to let me know where you're streaming from. I always want to know. So I definitely can shout you guys out. We are talking about when sex actually satisfies. Last week, if you tuned in, we were talking about when sex does not satisfy. So this week, we're talking about how sex can satisfy, how sex actually can create a jolt in your relationship in a really good way. And so we're not talking about using sex, but we are saying that, sex actually can work to your advantage in multiple ways. Okay. Hello. Good evening. Hi, JJ. Hey, Kathy. Renita. Hello, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. So, as I said tonight, we're talking about how sex actually can help your relationship, how it can contribute to your relationship and make things just a little bit better. So I'm going to give you five different ways or, five different scenarios where sex actually can satisfy and it actually can create a happy ending. All right. So the very first example I'm going to give you guys about how sex can satisfy is if you're not spending enough time with each other. So we already know all of us have ridiculously busy schedules, right? And we know that sometimes it can be really difficult to find time to hang out, spend time, connect with your spouse. I already know. We've talked about this before. You guys don't like it, but I've talked to you about scheduling sex. I know it doesn't sound sexy, but in a worst case scenario, I mean, if you're going weeks and months and you guys are not having sex and you have the desire to, and there's nothing else, emotionally or mentally, physically that's preventing you from having sex, then you may just have to schedule it. So sometimes, we will make date night a priority. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, it should be. But if you have to make a choice between having a date night, right, where you are dragging yourself out somewhere versus staying in and being intimate with your spouse, I'm saying you should be putting yourself in an environment where you can connect with your partner in the most intimate way, which is having sex. I don't know about you, but there have been times where, especially in the past, where, when kids were younger, trying to schedule a date night and we were exhausted from the week and we're trying to schlup it to some restaurant or just, taking ourselves out somewhere when we really didn't have the energy. We were really tired and we would much rather stay home. So again, in making that decision between going out when I'm ridiculously tired and exhausted, don't feel like getting dressed up and all of these things versus staying home and having some intimacy with my spouse where we can talk and then we actually can transition into having sex, being at home, not having to dress up. I mean, to go out, you might want to dress up, stay in, but to go out, like you should choose to stay in and have sex, especially if you guys have not been connecting in that way. Okay. So again, let me be clear because sometimes, the fellas come on and the fellas are like, ooh, LaKeesha said we don't need to have date night. We need to stay home and have sex. That is not what I said, fellas. That is not what I said. I said, if you are struggling and you're having a difficult time making time to have sex with your spouse and you're trying to choose between should we go out and have a date night or should we stay home and have sex, and you both are willing and interested and you want to do it, I'm saying stay home, have sex. Okay. And then the next night or the next weekend, then you go out and have date night. Just trying to be clear because I know how my words, the people twist my words. So I want to make sure that you heard me clearly with what I said. Okay. So another way sex could actually satisfy is if you've hit like a dry patch in your relationship. So what if you're in a place where nobody's really initiating? When folks are in a long-term relationship, oftentimes it's people stop initiating, and then one person's waiting on the other person to initiate, and that person's waiting on the other person to initiate, and no one initiates. And then it can get really bad where you start keeping score, like, well, I initiated the last 5 times and you haven't initiated. We get into this back and forth type of thing. Okay, so how do you solve this dilemma? Sex. Just do it. Just do it. Don't worry about who initiated. Don't worry about who started it. Don't worry about who set it off. The point is that it gets going, right? And it doesn't matter. But like so many times, as I said, when you've been in a relationship for a really, really long time, we get into this space of, well, I want you to initiate and I want you to initiate. Now, I understand that there are relationship issues sometimes that might affect the person initiating, especially if there's been trauma. You guys are working through relationship issues. That makes sense. I get that. I understand that. At the same time, though, your commitment to staying in and working on the relationship includes your commitment to staying dedicated to all areas and all aspects of the relationship. So we need to work on all of the different levels of intimacy. We need to work on communication. We also need to work on our sex lives. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, again, guys, I tell you every week, if you have questions, drop your questions, put your comments in here. And if I have time, for sure, I will answer your questions, but get them in here early, okay? So that I can gauge and see how I need to flow this evening if I got a lot of questions from you guys. All right. The next area where sex can satisfy is when you're not talking to each other. When you're not talking to each other, sex actually can open you up to your spouse, to your partner. If you guys are not talking because life is taking over or you're busy or whatever, sex can actually help to bring you guys back together. Okay. There are times where, again, like I said, life takes over, kids take over, jobs, all these different things. And, we're basically just talking about the business of what needs to happen, schedules, the bills, and the children. And we're having surface communication where we're just talking about, what happened at work or what happened during your day, but we're not really having that deeper level intimate conversation. So I have to tell you that oftentimes intimate conversation is shared after good sex, and you get so much more honesty. You're able to articulate things that maybe you couldn't before because your brain is foggy and cloudy because you have all this tension and stress in your body. But the reality is, after good sex, people have a tendency to be more open and more willing to communicate. I'm just saying. Sometimes after you have sex, you just need time to just lay there, to just chill and enjoy each other and just relax. And oftentimes the conversation will just flow. It will just flow. And so, JJ says, sex is really where me and hubby connect. When we go sometime without it, we feel the disconnection. For sure. For sure. And the reality is this: it is the deepest form of intimacy. You are the most vulnerable. I mean, you can't get any more connected than your body's connecting. So it is extremely important that we make that time, right? We create that space to have that intimacy, that physical intimacy. I want to point out that the emotional intimacy is just as important and communicated, because guess what? You still need to be talking, even with physical intimacy, right? We need to be having conversations with one another about what we like and what we don't like, right? What we need. And what we feel as if we don't need. I'm just saying, you guys, like, it's so much more than just a stick in a hole, right? It's so much more than that. And oftentimes, we're in a place where we're uncomfortable with having certain conversations, but and that can transfer into the bedroom, right? We're uncomfortable being intimate with our spouses because maybe you guys have been disconnected for quite some time and you're not sure how to get reconnected. Well, again, oftentimes some of the most honest, deep, real, authentic conversations are taking place after sex. Um, okay, I see some of your comments in here. Scotty Shepherd, the smooth, deep, grooving basses, right? this this name though. My wife said she has no desire for sex or anything. It's like we're just friends. She is 49 and I'm 54. She says she has no desire anymore and it's like we're just friends now. Okay. She says it's just for reproduction. Okay, Scotty, I hear you. Thank you for your comment. You don't really have a question, but so you said she's 49. I wonder if she's beginning to go through hormonal changes. Um, it's possible women go through menopause at different ages. She may be starting that. She may be already in the midst of it. Um, and there are different stages of menopause. Um, yeah, there's something called the climacteric, and that literally can last for 15 years. I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm just trying to educate you. But the reality is this: she may be going through some hormonal changes. Maybe, I don't know. Um, we know that women have a tendency not to desire sex as often as men do. So that's not the shocker for me. But her saying that she has zero desire, not low desire. You said no desire. Um, that could be for multiple reasons. Again, it could be something hormonal, it could be something emotional. Have there been issues with the two of you? Has there been trauma? Is there a lack of trust? Um, has she had health issues? Any health concerns? Um, does she feel as if you're not meeting her needs in other areas? No disrespect. Is she satisfied sexually? Because a lot of times, everything that I said can contribute to a lack of desire. But there are times where if the woman is not being pleased sexually, that will cause her desire to go down. Okay. Again, no disrespect, no shade, but everything that I listed can contribute, including that. And oftentimes women have a difficult time explaining to their spouses what it is that they want and need. Sometimes they don't fully understand. I don't know how well she knows her body, because if she doesn't know her body well, then she may not even know what she needs to be satisfied. Therefore, she can't communicate it to you. Saying that it's just for reproduction, that sounds like that might be maybe some faith-based religious affiliation connection, maybe, not sure. I see that you said she's on bipolar medication. Certain medications can affect libido. So that's a conversation with the doctor. And hopefully she's willing to schedule an appointment and talk to her doctor about that. And you should go with her if she will allow you, so that you guys can discuss it. You have to let her know that sex is ridiculously important to you. Um, I've said on different shows by myself when I invited some of my brothers on, and they talked about how sex is energy for them. Sex is life for them. Like, sex is like food, like it's necessary for survival. So, being able to communicate in a loving, kind, respectful, considerate way that sex is very important to you, and not that you're just trying to do it because you just need to get off, but really you desire her and you desire to be intimate with her. and to share that part of your lives together. I think that would be very, very valuable. But Scotty, I'm here to help you. Book a session. Let's have a conversation. Bring your wife in and let's get you guys some resolution. Usually it's not just this cut and dry black and white answer that, unfortunately, because of time and because of this platform, I have to deliver. I have to kind of give you some general, but the more information, background information I have, the more we can get to the root of what's really going on. Then we can get a solution and then we can get it popping in the bedroom. Okay. So schedule a call, book a session, go to couplesacademy.org. You will get the information for how you can set up a discovery call and book a session and let me help you guys. Because again, I understand how important sex is to many people, but it is really, really important for men. And so, book a session. Book a session. All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and I'll give you the other scenarios where sex actually can satisfy. You're watching SOS, and we'll be right back after this short break.
When 45 men from all walks of life come together in one place for one purpose, there is a collective harmony that produces an amplification of power that leaves an impact on the lives of men that cannot be erased. A fraternity of legendary men, all at the tipping point, on the precipice of greatness, meeting for one weekend to turn their worlds inside out. For the first time ever, the Foundry Experience. Not an event, not a seminar or retreat, but an opportunity to come face to face with the man you were always destined to be. If you want a life that's better than the one that you are living, meet us January 2023 for the Foundry Experience.
Hello. Welcome back. Again, you're watching SOS. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and we are talking about what happens when sex does satisfy, when sex actually can strengthen your relationship and improve maybe a lack of connection between you and your spouse. I love what JJ said. I looked at the comment. JJ said, opening up with communication has definitely helped our sex life. Absolutely. Thank you, JJ, for sharing that. And again, it's the truth. Communication is everything. We have to communicate before, we have to communicate during, and we have to communicate after, because sometimes when we're in the midst of things, it may not be going the way that we desire for it to go. We may want something or need something. We might want more of something or less than something. And you have to communicate that, and it's really hard sometimes to say something that you think might be hurtful to your spouse, but it's necessary, because if you're not enjoying the experience, you're not going to keep signing up to doing it again. And ultimately, that should be a regular occurrence of you being intimate and having sex with one another. So you have to communicate. All right. So the next scenario where sex actually can satisfy is when you need to hit the reset button. Okay. I definitely have talked about this multiple times, you guys. Sex can get boring, even when you have the most wonderful relationship, right? It can get boring, especially if you've been together for a really long time. And so not being satisfied sexually, which is what I was sharing, earlier in responding to the bassist comments, is that sometimes if one or more are not enjoying the sex, it can create a problem for both parties involved. And so it's I mean, it's something that most couples are going to deal with eventually. We stay together long enough, it's probably going to happen where someone gets bored, right? So one or two things are going to happen. Sex is either going to be the thing that's going to keep you connected and keep you bonded and feeling that closeness and that intimacy and help propel you forward, or it's going to be a source of persistent pain and discord, which actually forces you to be stagnant and pull away from each other versus pushing you forward or propelling you forward. So, I mean, if this is the truth, if any of this is resonating with you, then the solution is more sex. And the reality is, you got to talk to your spouse about what's going wrong and why and what might be uncomfortable. And never do anything that you don't want to do. Never do something that you don't want to do, that's uncomfortable for you, that goes against your morals, values, standards, ethics, whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not saying don't try new things. What I am saying is be comfortable, right? With what it is. Be okay with trying whatever the thing is that your partner or spouse may want to try. As long as it's not something, again, that hurts, is painful, traumatizes you, brings up some old history, memories, whatever, especially if you have been traumatized in the past sexually, then, of course, you have to be mindful of that. But we're talking about in a typical relationship, right? Where there's been no major trauma, no major issues from the past or within your relationship. You should be open and willing to try new things, but not to the point where you are feeling everything in your body and being and mind is saying, no, I don't want to do this. You should not move forward. And so um, there are 3 G's for a healthy sex life. It should be good, it should be giving, and game in the bedroom, right? Sex should be good, meaning enjoyable. It should be giving, meaning that you're not only receiving, but you are giving to your partner, to your spouse. And it should be game. Like, yes, it should be happening. It should be going down. It totally should be happening. And if it's not, then we need to explore why it's not happening. Okay. C. Jenkins said, naked game night. Try it, have fun. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Game could be game, meaning you're down, but game could also mean we are playing games in the bedroom. That's right, Kathy. I am here for that. Thank you. That's good. All right. So the next scenario where sex actually might satisfy, improve your relationship is anytime you need to make up after a fight. Man, there have been so many songs and quotes and sayings surrounding makeup sex. So this is not even funny. So there is some truth to this, right? Having good sex is really a great way to say, I'm sorry. And makeup sex is so charged because we enter into it fully aware of the emotional content of our conflicts that we need to resolve. And so oh my God, it can be hot. It can be hot as all get out. And so when you find yourselves like going at it against each other, sometimes there's tension that's building up. It's sexual frustration, sexual tension. And instead of you fighting and arguing, all of that, take out your frustrations in the bedroom and then talk about your problems like adults and work things out. But sex actually makes it a little bit easier to admit that you're wrong sometimes because it helps to calm you down. It helps to relax you. You're thinking clearly. You don't have the brain fog because you're sexually frustrated. And so it can really make, conversations be that much more logical and productive. And people are more open and willing to listen and hear after they're relaxed after the big O. So everything is about balance, right? Everything is about balance and doing things in a healthy way, right? So we're not talking about using sex to avoid dealing with problems. That is not what I'm talking about. But what I am saying is that there are some problems that sex actually can help you work through. Again, if you're not spending enough time together while you're having sex, you got to be in the same place with each other, right? So it can help with creating more space and opportunity for you guys to spend time together. It can really catapult you into a new season if you've hit like a rough patch or a dry patch. And then when you're not talking to each other, it can put you in a place where you have a desire to communicate more because you're feeling more connected with your partner. If you need to hit the reset button because things are boring. And so sex can actually spice things up if you're willing to try new things, do new things. And then again, lastly, like I said, if you are finding yourself arguing a lot and getting into disagreements and all of that, and you've been fighting, makeup sex can definitely help you get to the next level of recovery from that fight. So I'm just urging you guys and cautioning you not to be afraid to use sex as a way to work through some of your problems, but just make sure that you're tackling the problems and you walk away with the feeling like you're getting what it is that you need in and out of the bedroom. So, like I said, never use sex as a way to avoid dealing with issues or avoid dealing with problems, but definitely, again, it can help you work through some of those issues. So, Tiffany, it's okay. It is all right. LaKeesha can be spelled multiple ways. So it is okay. Kathy, thank you for the compliment. You are beautiful as well. I love that JJ said makeup sex is amazing. Yes. Yes, it can be. It totally can be. So, like I said, you guys, I'm here to assist you. I'm here to help you. If you are having issues, you are struggling in the bedroom, call. Make that discovery call, book a session. Let me help you guys because, again, this is one of the most intimate ways for you to connect with your spouse. And when you remove sex from the equation, it can cause a host of other issues that were never there before. And so let's get in, let's clean it up, let's get it together so we can get the spice back in that bedroom. All right. So again, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I can always, this 30 minutes goes by so fast, so fast. But I don't see any more comments or questions. So we're going to go ahead and end for tonight, and make sure you tune in to the Couples Academy show first thing in the morning, 9:30 a.m. And then let's see, there's this show called Before I Do that comes on Wednesday nights. That's for those of you who are not married, thinking about being married, engaged. And also, I would say, even if you're married, it's still good to watch because there are things that you can still learn, even though you've been married for quite some time. So make sure you're tuning into these shows. There's so much information, you guys, that's out there to support you in your relationships. And when you need help with the application, that's when you need to call and make that discovery call. All right. So you guys, again, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you back here next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. All right. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.